High energy intro.
Oh, sorry. I
It's
still
always
don't
just
know,
you
do I?
breathing. Every time we go live, it's just you breathing into your microphone, which is appropriate because today we're talking about how close to death you are with your health, and me too, because
Oh,
we're middle-aged men who have gone all flabby and soft, and we've decided, well, I think it's kind of like an intervention um, from the universe, from your partner, from the fact that we would like to. I'd like to see my feet again. I'd like to
yeah,
see, you know.
I'd like to see next year. I don't know. It feels like, yeah, 2024 still feels like a long way off.
Well,
Fucking
we
hell.
can make it. I think we're going to do it. We've decided to join forces and create a network of two. Can you have a network of two? Is that
Yeah,
a support group?
uh,
Two people in it?
yeah, that's all we're gonna get, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going on a fitness journey, and
Hmm.
I'm quite excited, as you can tell by the sound of my voice. Um, and you're obviously very excited as well. I understand that you've been doing some exercise today in preparation for your new lifestyle.
Not today. No, God, no. It's Sunday.
I thought you
It's the
chopped some
only.
wood.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a
That counts.
necessity. Yeah, I have been. I've been on three, no, four runs since we decided this.
Bloody
Um,
hell.
so that
Must be
in the
something you
last
ate.
like 2 weeks. Yeah, I wish. It feels like it. I'd rather have the shits than go jogging, if I'm honest. Like people say about running, you run a bit, or you have,
No, I
haven't you?
used to, but I don't now because well, today I should mention there's another face here. He hasn't arrived yet, but we've got a guest. Um, my friend Matt, who is a fitness instructor and a trainer, is coming on to give us a little bit of background about his situation because he had a similar kind of revelation a few years ago where he took a look at himself and said no. And then
Hmm.
he changed his ways, changed his lifestyle, and decided to get in shape. So he's going to give us some of his expert guidance. Um, but yeah, no. To answer your question, I used to run a lot. I don't now because I'm a middle-aged man, and I don't think my joints can take it. I like to do something that is uh, less. That's not an impact sport. You know.
Okay, but of
So
course you can't swim, can you? I remember that about you.
yeah,
It's
why
impossible.
would you make? Why do you make these things up?
I
You've
thought you couldn't swim.
the
And that's
entire
why.
time I've known you, you've been saying that I'm from Slough, which is not true,
No, you're from
and
Staines.
now you're saying that I can't swim, which is also not true.
Ah, I thought it was true. No, but the thing about running, like a lot of people I work with run and they do like my mate Dobbo, he does marathons and stuff.
Yeah,
And people like run before work and things like this.
I wouldn't
And
recommend it.
they keep telling me, oh, you'll learn to love it. Fuck off. Like I'll learn to love pain. Like
Well, yeah, Matt's probably going to agree with that. I'm going to switch his face off until he arrives because we can't
yeah.
we can't just
Turn his turn his happy,
look
smiley,
how happy he is. It's
fucking
disgusting.
fit face. Get rid of him. Yeah, I don't need to look at that until I absolutely have to.
I've
Sorry, Matt.
I've got
Um,
some images that I'm going to put up later on of how his transformation has taken place to make you feel motivated or depressed. You choose.
mm,
But yeah, no running. I used to run a lot, and I think it's I now actually have problems with one of my knees, and I think it's because of the running from. I don't think it's the best sport. I know a lot of people that run or used to run, and they all end up with problems with their knees. So
yeah, I've never been very good at running. I was a size 11 foot when I was 11,
wow.
and so I was. If you imagine the shape of a capital L, that's basically what I look like. You know, my feet were about as long as I was tall, and I think that had something to do with it. I'm really flat-footed. When I run, I sound like an elephant. I remember a French guy telling me that once. Like we went we went on a tennis twinning to France, and he was
Sacre
like,
bleu.
"Oh, ha, ha, you run on like the elephant." And I was like, "Fuck you." That put me off.
Did you lose?
Yeah. Oh no, at tennis. Yeah, probably. I can't remember. I was like 9, I think. But yeah, so I'm flat-footed. I don't enjoy running. I don't particularly enjoy many exercises. Um,
Hmm.
I suppose we'll get into it a bit with Matt,
Yeah,
but
that's going to be tricky. I mean, let's talk a little bit about our before he arrives um our health past. So I've got actually an old photo of us exercising together. I don't know if you'll be able
what?
to see it. Even James is there in the background. There's us dancing on what I believe to be one of the worst holidays I've ever been on. Uh,
That was the best.
we go. You dragged me to France when
Oh, I
when
love that
the
picture.
whole country was closed. We went to
Yeah,
France during the season when everyone's just stays indoors for a
that
week.
was like the Ministry of Sound, but the Brittany version, and it was just us two and James looking at us.
Just laughing at us because we're
Disgusting.
the only people in a. I mean, even the DJ's laughing. I think everybody was.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man, I enjoyed that holiday.
it was
Uh,
terrible.
I
I
was very unfit then. God.
I'd just done a 100 kilometer
Yeah, you
24
had,
hour sponsored walk,
and
and
your feet were like falling off, weren't
yeah, my
they?
toenails came off, and I just don't know if I don't know if you remember this. This is disgusting. So I just put a trigger warning there for anyone who's eating guacamole or soup. I pulled. I was inspecting my broken foot. It was just absolutely shredded, and Rich was sat next to me, and finally loosening this toenail, my big toenail, come off. But there was a blister underneath the toenail, and I pulled the toenail off, and the blister burst, and this fluid shot out and landed on your leg, and you just immediately turned around and vomited on the floor. It was it was the most disgusting. Everything about it was disgusting. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
I mean, I barely remember that holiday, but yeah, I remember you having horrific feet. And our other friend Sam, he injured himself trying to do exercise on that
yeah, he
holiday.
jumped into a
Like
pool.
within 10 minutes of getting there,
But
he jumped
he
in.
jumped in to the shallow end, and he jumped
Feet.
in like rigid, like just like he
Yeah,
was
like
just
those guys jump out of helicopters
yeah.
into the
And
sea.
his feet just immediately hit the bottom of the pool, and I think he bust like the heel of his foot or something. It was just a
Oh,
terrible holiday. Um,
good
yeah,
times.
but as an example, that's I think basically the limit of our exercise that we just kind of whatever. I don't know what that dance is that we're doing there. Um,
You look like you're line dancing, like you got your
I
thumbs
think
in your belt.
I'm trying to get away from you. I think you look like
Yeah,
that's a very predatory pose that you have.
there wasn't a lot of options
I'm
in that club.
sure that you've been in a bush stood like that at some point in your life,
Probably.
just
Yeah, man.
leering out at
Oh, look at
somebody.
all my lovely hair, though. Look at
Yeah,
the hair I had back in those days.
we did. Yeah, we both had hair. I
Yeah.
enjoyed having hair. My head's just perpetually cold nowadays, which is a pity. But this is another reason to get in shape because there's certain things that you can be, and I mean, I'm a
How
short.
old were we then? About 21?
No, you're joking. You're 21,
I don't know.
26, 27.
Was it? Oh, God. Sorry. Yeah, my recollection is not the best. Partly due to that bottle that I'm holding there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, good old days.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But
Yeah.
yeah, as I was saying, like I'm vertically challenged, which is a problem. And I'm also a balding man, and now due to well, I don't know if it's the things that I eat or the lack of exercise or what, but I'm also fat. And you can't be all three of those things. It's against the rules of humanity. Short and I don't know something else, fine. But short, fat, and bald is not a winning combination. Nobody wants to see it. I don't know how many celebrities you can name that are short. Short, fat, and bald.
Uh,
Danny DeVito. One. There you
oh
go.
yeah,
There's just
yeah,
one. There's the only one.
yeah. No, I mean it's a weird thing, isn't it? But you've gone through phases of fitness.
Yeah, I was in pretty good shape earlier this year, in fact. So I kind of fell off the wagon during the summer. But I was doing a fitness program. I'll tell you what it is more than anything, and maybe Matt will have some answers to how we can deal with this in the future. But I just got bored. I got bored of being relentlessly healthy. I got bored of because I was watching what I ate. I was going to the gym for 4 times a week, and I was doing exercise outside of the gym. It's a lot of work, man. I put a lot of work in, and I was trying to get my deadlift up to 200 kilos. I managed 180. I didn't quite make it to
Mm.
200. I think if I'd kept at it, I definitely would have done that by the end of the year. But um, yeah, I was in pretty good shape earlier this year, and I enjoy exercise. Actually, I used to enjoy running, but
Yeah.
like I say, I can't do it with all the extra weight. So we've got to hire for free the help of an expert, and
Hmm.
that's what Matt is gonna help us with. What's your diet like?
Yeah, like it can be okay. So Sharon is vegetarian, so I've I've started eating a lot less meat. One of the girls is vegetarian,
Hmm.
Millie, the oldest, she's veggie too. Uh, but Evie and me probably like the same food, which is beige. If, it, if it's beige,
Anything
then
that's beige goes in your mouth.
yeah, chicken nuggets, chips,
Yeah.
that's always
Oh,
good.
chicken
But
nuggets.
but but I probably do that more as a treat nowadays.
Have you ever seen chicken nuggets being made?
Yeah, and
It's just
I don't care.
there's no
I
chicken.
really don't care. Like, well, no, there's a famous scene where Jamie Oliver is like liquidizing
Oh
a load
yeah,
of
I've
like
seen that. Yeah,
chicken anuses and
yeah.
faces,
Chicken
and
lips.
then like all the kids are like, "Oh, that's gross," and then he deep fries them in a bit of breadcrumb, and everyone's like, "Yeah, I'll have one,"
Yeah, sure.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, a diet's not too bad. But I tell you what, though, when I was living on my own, I found it really difficult cooking.
Hmm.
Just for cooking for one is like, yeah, I used to find like, what's the point? What's the point of
Yeah. Yeah.
making any effort? I'll just have another pizza. You know, I don't know if you struggle with a similar sort of thing or not,
Yeah,
but
I mean, I do, but it's mostly because I don't have time. I don't, well, I should say I don't make time. I do 11 hours of class like most days, and
mm,
it's spread across the day. So I start at 8 o'clock in the morning. I finish at usually 9:30, and sometimes I have to cycle home. Um, so I don't really get to eat dinner until about 10, and I keep forgetting to go shopping. So I end up just eating whatever.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I do. I think for me as well, because like I feel like I've given up a lot of naughty stuff, like drugs and booze, basically. So like a nice bit of cheese, like
hmm.
ice cream. We've talked about ice cream on another
Yeah.
episode when I said if you're only eating half a tub, you're not doing it right. Um, but yeah, I can smash a Ben and Jerry's. To be honest, Sunday nights are quite bad for me because that's the night I drop my daughter back at her mum's, and yeah, I use that as an excuse really to comfort eat,
Hmm.
but it's probably more that I just really like Ben and
I
Jerry's.
feel like
Um,
you're kind of convincing me to not eat healthily right now. This is making me
no,
hungry.
I'm just giving you my reasons. Obviously, well, not obviously, but I still smoke. I'm on like 20 a day. Uh, and yeah, I'm pretty bad for the caffeine, and like
Well,
I have been really bad on it. Energy drinks
this
like Monster
it's
and stuff.
something that I wanted to ask you about actually because I feel like as a how do you term it correctly? I don't know. I know that you prefer things to be said in a certain way, but as somebody in recovery, would you say
Yeah, yeah, that's all right. Yeah,
As
that makes it sound a bit grand. But
yeah,
yes,
as somebody.
someone who doesn't drink or do drugs anymore.
Yeah, but okay. Well, the point I'm trying to make is that that's taken an extraordinary amount of willpower to change your life in that way. I think that's probably one of the hardest things that you can do. And not just that, but you've achieved that in your own life, but your work is also encouraging other people to take the same path. So your life is kind of full of this psychology and like a motivation to change and a motivation
Hmm.
to abstinence.
Yeah, but I honestly, I think the consequences, like the consequences of drinking a liter of Smirnoff whilst driving the M25,
Yeah,
are like quite in your face,
yeah.
Whereas the consequences of eating a a tub of cookie ice cream, like it's not so immediate
I don't know,
or
man. I don't know.
impactful. You know?
I would say that it's the diet thing or the health thing is more insidious because it's something that kills you slowly. I mean, obviously alcohol is the same, but there are, like you say, more immediate consequences with the alcohol. Um, it's more obvious that and it's more dangerous, like immediately dangerous. But
Mm,
if you're just treating your body like shit, then this what surprised me this year is that it took me so much effort to get into shape. I had to work really hard at it, but getting out of shape, no problem. Like it was
easy.
incredible how
Yeah.
fast I lost everything that I gained, and
Mm.
that's kind of for me. That's like it. It's demotivated me in a whole new way because I'm like, okay, I've let myself down, but I've also lost everything that I worked so hard for, and just the idea of starting again from scratch. It's not even starting from scratch. It's starting from behind the point that I was before. Although that's not entirely true physically. I just mean like psychologically, it's difficult to get back on. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like it feels like a big commitment, and like the smoking thing. I wish, and I tell all my clients this: like if I'm sending you to rehab, and you have the opportunity to quit smoking, do it there. Do it there. I mean,
mm,
yeah, the heroin or the crack or the booze or the whatever feels like a more pressing issue, but the ongoing effects of smoking, not just health wise, but financially and you know everything that goes with it. That's long term stuff, and I think most of my guys have probably been smoking longer than they've been using heroin. Um, so yeah, I really wish I'd have knocked everything on the head. Rehab, when I went to rehab, man, that was the healthiest I've ever been. I nearly got a six pack. I was
ah,
like that. I was like close.
yeah,
I was actually in with a guy who was like a bodybuilder, and one of his addictions was steroids, but
mm,
he couldn't get any in rehab, and he was in there for 6 months. But he was still um, like uh, working out a lot, and yeah, so I got in with him and got down to the gym all the time, and came out with nearly a six pack. He just said I started off with a duvet of fat over my muscles, and I was down to a sheet.
mm,
Um,
mm.
but I had plenty of time, which I don't really have now.
Maybe that's the key. Matt's just turned up. I think he can probably hear me, but I'm just gonna. Matt, can you hear me? No, he can't. Right. Oh yeah, he can. All right. I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'm just gonna switch you on. Hang on. Bear with us. Rich, tell us a tale while I plug Matt in.
Oh, I'll tell you about Big Ash, who was a bodybuilder in rehab. Uh, he could like lift everything. He was so strong. And I remember one day we were doing this thing. I don't even know what it's called. Matt, you'll have to tell me at some point. But where you put like where you stood up doing squats with a bar, but like you don't do squats. We were just going up on our toes and it was like who had the strongest calves, and he got really angry that I had a lot stronger calves than he did, and got really angry to the point where he smashed up a treadmill. So yeah, I think he still had some of the juice left in him. He also got colitis because of all the steroids. So I'll be avoiding the steroids no matter what you say, Matt.
Yeah, he can't hear you. Can he?
Okay.
Now we can't hear you at all.
Lost Matt. We've
Yeah,
lost Matt.
is he gone? I don't know. Well, there he was
Quick,
telling.
let's eat ice cream and smoke. That's,
Yeah,
it's not
we don't have to do what he tells us now. I've been working with Matt for a long time, as I mentioned before. Like the earlier in the year when I got into watching my food and going to the gym, working out and everything. The reason that I needed some guidance was because I think this is the same for most people. Is that it can be quite daunting, like launching yourself into a fitness routine when you don't really know what to do, or some people have very sporty lives. It's quite easy to get back into shape, but if you've just kind
Mm.
of like myself, like you played tennis before. Obviously you had to stand perfectly still and hit a ball to do that. Yeah.
I got fairly good at
Yeah,
yeah.
I do remember that you were quite good actually. Yeah, but like I just say like I used to run and I used to go to the gym a little bit, but I didn't really know what I was doing, if I'm perfectly honest. And I think now, um, nowadays there's a lot of information on. I think there's too much information online. Like I see a lot of stuff on
Oh
Instagram,
God,
like
yeah.
all of these different stretches, all of this like mobility stuff and all of that, and I just find it a little bit overwhelming. So I'm interested in like how you find the best program for yourself as an individual, because everybody's different. This is the main thing. Um,
I think it is really difficult. And there's like a million different diets, isn't there? There's like caveman diet, paleo,
yeah,
keto
I
diet.
just
I don't
tried
know what
one. I
any of it fucking
was
means.
the one that I tried that really worked, that I selected um, because it appealed to me. Was what's the one where you can just eat sausages?
I don't know.
Maybe I
I
made
mean,
it. I
that
might.
sounds yeah, that sounds like one you found. Yeah, no, it sounds like you made it up, actually.
Maybe
Yeah,
I made it up.
yeah.
Okay. No,
But I remember
is the one.
Craig did
You go on.
keto, I think. Is it keto where you just
No.
eat like meat and cheese?
Yeah.
He just used to have like a steak with a lump of
Yeah,
cheese.
that's what I
And
did. I
it
loved
was
it. It was great. It's the greatest
and
time
it
of my
worked
life.
for him. He lost loads of weight, but
I didn't. I was fatter by the end of it than I was when I started. I was just eating sausages every day. I don't
but
think you're supposed to do it with sausages. I think you're supposed to eat clean meat, like not processed meat.
yeah, I think for me, like hopefully Matt can get back on, but yeah, I was joking about Big Ash at rehab and the steroid use. Like, I just want fucking instant results. That's part. I think that's part of my sort of addict makeup is that I just want everything now, uh, ideally with as little work as possible. You know, and I sometimes get it. Like if like I've done a bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu over years. I've been doing a bit of that recently, but then an
Really?
actual yeah, yeah. Yeah, until about a month ago. I did a or maybe a bit longer than a month. But I've done a bit of that over the years and I always enjoyed that, but that's like an instant result. I guess playing tennis is like an instant result. You get to like win a point and that's better than just running. Oh, it's Matt back.
Yeah. You can tell by the horrific robotic noises that are coming in.
Maybe are you a robot, Matt? Is that how you can lift so much? Okay, good.
There's a huge.
No, I was just saying, Matt. Part of I think my issue is I sort of I want instant results. I was joking about the steroids, but like I I have a real problem putting any work into pretty much any area of my life.
Yeah.
You know?
Motivation is key. Maybe Matt, if he can hear us and everything is functioning correctly, can tell us a little bit about how to stay motivated. Oh my
Immediate
God!
result.
I fixed the echo. Sorry, I was listening to you.
Great,
But I've
great.
I've
Because
also just fixed.
I was hearing it.
Oh, thank God.
I was hearing it in my background. I'm like, oh fuck! Now I know what he's talking about.
Shit.
It's the gym. It's the gym internet. That's what I'm gonna say.
Mm.
But doing something you hate as if you love it, key, right? I don't
Yeah.
love always going to the gym. There's days when I ache. There's the days where I have legs. Right, squatting it's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm very much on the outs with squatting, but you know, a lot of times it can be scary too. But I know that if I don't move, if I know I don't do it, it's just going to get worse in the long run.
Uh-huh.
It's
Well,
really easy to sit at home, and easy decisions now lead to a harder life in the future.
okay, so you
So
have to establish a better relationship with your future self, basically.
absolutely,
I
you
don't,
have to do the things today for yourself that
yeah.
just tomorrow would be like sound.
But I think that's the
Thank you.
problem. I think that's the problem that definitely me and Rich have, but also I think most people who
Right.
are out of shape and would like to be in better shape. I think that you don't embrace the idea of delayed gratification. You don't like it's so easy to like Rich's example is eating a tub of ice cream. Which he's very good at. He's good at eating a tub of ice cream, and he
I
loves
don't
it.
know many people who aren't very good at it. Like it is a skill I think most people can do.
Yeah,
Not Ben. He
yeah.
can only do
I
half.
only do half. I'm
Yeah.
not as well trained. But I think that you you go for the easy option. You go for the thing that tastes good or feels good, or it's nicer. It's nicer to stay in bed for longer. It's nicer and easier to decide not to go to the gym when it's raining outside, like you said, and that feels good instantly. But it's the
Certainly.
idea of like you can't. I think you have to create a better relationship with your future self and try and understand who that. Like, did you ever seen that? Have you seen that episode of The Simpsons where Homer Simpson drinks a whole jar of mayonnaise, and somebody says, "Aren't you worried about your health?" He's like, "That's a problem for future me. I'd hate to be that guy."
Yeah, I suppose the issue is though we are future me now, aren't
Yeah,
we? You're
exactly.
future you, yeah, and I'm future me. I think for me, motivation. Yeah, I can see the motivation to do it. You know, I've got a little girl. I want to see her grow up. I'm getting married. I want to look nice as I can for my wife.
Impressive.
I want to fuck off. I want. I,
Sorry.
I, I want to stay alive. I think is my um like core motivation. But yeah, it's always the discipline, man. It's the discipline that gets me. I'm not a disciplined person in nearly every area of my life, and that needs to change. I recognize that needs to change, but I'm sort of 43 years in and not never had to do it really.
Well,
Hmm.
I'm going to put some before and after photos of Matt. I've put a few up, but I'm just going to put this is Matt pre workout. This is the one Matt. You probably can't see this, but this is the one where you're at the beach, surrounded by rocks, just kind of like
Yeah.
gazing off into the distance. It's quite a noble
Ooh.
pose that you have there.
Very, very much so. I was feeling myself back in the day. I imagine. I think I was. That was our trip to Portugal, in
Uh-huh.
Lisbon, for the first time, and I was there with my wife, trying to get like another tourist passport stamp, not
Uh-huh.
realizing that you have to leave the European Union, not just another country. So so it's like we meant to go and have that checked off our list, so I wouldn't have to be here illegally while I waited for my papers to go through to get married. But in short, I thought that I was not in terrible shape. Like I didn't think I was that much of a blimp. I mean, I believe I was around 100 kilos in that photograph. And for reference, I'm 6'2",
Yeah.
so 187 centimeters for you heathens out there. And um, it didn't really even click.
So
No recollection.
what changed? I mean, what was it? When did you start looking at yourself and saying, "Whoa, something's got to happen. This isn't good
I
enough."
I think I think a lot of times I knew, but I wasn't really honest with myself.
Hmm.
Right. So when I think I was just finishing uni around that time. I was in a fraternity, and we were constantly drinking and eating terribly, and just, I mean, I look I look as the result of somebody who was just killing 30 packs of Nat Ice and McDonald's and Carl's Jr. and
Hmm.
Jack in a Box every other day, right? It's evident, and I think when people started to like take away some of my tank tops, what you guys call vests.
Hmm.
For the fraternity, we would buy these shirts designed for certain fundraisers they had with other sororities. And some of my brothers, I would buy these shirts and then would just take them from me because I was just so obscenely gross to them that I would scare away the the potential whores from hanging out with us.
Well,
So if I'm scaring the hoes, then I mean, it was a bad look, and I would always suspect that that would happen. I wasn't going to the gym. All the other guys were in better nick. I was also much older than everyone else. I mean, I think I was about 8 years older than most of the guys because I'd fucked my life up in the process of getting to university. So it didn't really even hit me. Then I moved to Europe, and I don't know what it's like in the UK, but back home I was average, and that's terrifying. Like no one blinked an eye.
yeah.
No one ever was like, "Yo, like, are you all right?" No, that was just like, you know, you look you look healthy, I guess, because you eat. Uh, I had a reputation of drinking whenever there was something to drink, so
Yeah.
okay. I wouldn't say that I was an alcoholic, but I definitely wouldn't turn you down. Like
Hmm.
a lot of the hobbies were, drinking, beer
Yeah.
pong,
Yeah. I would say in
eating,
England
beer pong, drinking.
there's a huge problem because I think that it's very much encouraged. People are respected for the amount that they can drink. Maybe it's not the same nowadays. I don't know. I think that maybe the younger generations are turning away from that, and it's changing. I hope that's the case. But certainly
Yeah, no,
our
it
generation.
Yeah,
definitely
I
is.
mean, like
Yeah.
I think that is starting to happen here, or not here, there, where
Hmm.
I'm from, a little bit. I mean, I went to university at a time where, we would do Century Club. Did you guys ever do this? So,
Yeah.
Century Club was the attempt to drink
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
100 shots of beer
Yeah. Yeah.
in 100 minutes.
Yeah.
So every minute you drink a shot of beer. And I think I may have attempted this 4 times. I've completed it 2 times and gotten to the 90s before I absolutely just heaved everywhere. Like, and it was always seen like Matt would put down an obscene amount of
Hmm.
booze because, well, I mean, look at me. I was a fucking whale.
Hmm.
Like, no occur in like my dad is a big guy, and by big I mean just a massive belly. He's the real life version of Santa Claus.
Hmm.
Like he's just a fat man who looks jolly, looks like he doesn't take care of himself, loves a snack or two or 10. Like that's who he is. That was my genetics, and I thought, well, clearly this is what it's going to be. So when I moved to Europe and you're around all these people who are reasonably thin. I mean, everyone, every time you
Mm.
look around, Zaragoza,
Yeah,
I have
that's
friends who
true.
visited me tell me just like, I cannot believe how many not only attractive people, just there aren't fat people here.
Why do you think that is in
There aren't.
Spain? Is it the diet, or is it? I mean, they like to run here. They do like to exercise. That is true. They football, running.
The initial weight loss came from walking everywhere.
Hmm.
When I first moved here, like the first probably 10 kilos or so, maybe even 15, were all getting my ass out of the house and having to walk.
Is that
I worked on the other side of town.
because I don't
Did
know. I don't know what your opinion is. Like, it's difficult to strike a balance, but I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by starting, and that's what prevents
right.
them from ever taking the first step. Is just the idea, but maybe I don't know if you agree or not. But once you get the momentum, once you start to see or feel some results, it's easier to continue. But is there a
Well,
way? Do you think it's better to give tough love to yourself and just say, okay, fuck it, I've got it, this has to happen, or is it better to ease yourself in, or is it just different for everybody?
I think it's different for everyone
Hmm.
because I know like how I look at my son and trying to be a mixture of tough love or encouragement, neither work. Like he's just not receptive, right? He wants the cotton wool put on him. He also wants it all done for him and neatly packaged so that the minimum, the least amount of effort one human being could get with getting everything they want, he wants. Right? So it's kind of alarming. But he's also 8 years old.
Yeah.
But at 8 years old, I think I was very much the same way. I mean, like I remember I had a stepfather who was from the military, and I fucking hated the guy because well, he wanted to be tough on me, and it was exactly what I needed. But I
Hmm.
wasn't old enough to recognize that that's exactly what I needed. It was only until after I looked around and started seeing what I was capable of over a long period of time that now I can talk to myself like David Goggins, like,
Yeah.
come on, pussy, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I
Who's going to
can't,
carry the
like,
boats?
exactly who's going to carry the boats. And those sort of things work. But it's also like we're also in a new era of motivation. You can't, like, I always liken this to like sports in the 80s or 90s when I grew up. Like, I love basketball, and basketball is completely neutered now for the way it's played. It's fun to watch. A lot of points, a lot of spectacular movements,
Hmm.
but nobody's playing defense. Nobody's colliding with people, and I think it's the same for football. There used to be challenges that were not even considered yellow cards. Now would
Yeah.
today would be considered reds, violent conduct. That was a leg breaker kind of thing. It's like, or you're just a bitch. Like,
Yeah.
like, like get out. Like I thought men played this game. I thought,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, how are you supposed to say that to a fucking kid? Or how are you supposed to say that now with people who are going to roast you for that kind of thing? And
What
I don't
I,
know. The starting point, you have to start thinking what does success look like for you,
hmm.
right? So I'll flip it on you guys, and I'll tell you what I think in terms of what I would venture to say would be the right approach for you. I'm leaning toward this idea of the 2 minute rule. We'll circle back to that. But so, Rich,
Yeah.
what does success look like for you? And if you're thinking like, let's say, when are you getting married? In August?
Yeah, August 17th.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm
What's
currently
like?
I'm currently 182 pounds. So
Okay.
13 stone. Don't know what that is in kilos. What about 82? 82? Would that be
Right.
about right? And just before we went on today, I checked out my BMI because that feels like something I should look at. And I'm sort of I'm overweight. I'm overweight by sort of 20 pounds, I guess.
Okay. So I mean, like BMI is a very hard sort of fungible thing. Like there are people in the NFL who would be labeled obese, but they
Mm,
are just brick shit houses of muscle and fast twitch every fibers. Like, sure, they've got a gut, but they also move 340 pounds in any direction at velocity that most people will never comprehend. So, like BMI, I wouldn't be so hard about that. It's like a rough estimation, right? Now,
okay.
what would really be interesting to me, so you say you're 182. How tall are you?
5'8". So, are
Okay.
you going to want that
So,
in different
That's
language?
no,
that's
no,
like
5'8's perfect.
180, isn't it?
That's
It's about
perfect.
175.
So
I'd
if I
like.
were to like plug in your age and everything like that in a macro calendar or a calculator, sorry, not calendar, you would end up probably being somewhere around, I don't know, like 30% body fat, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? It's definitely not something to be happy about,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
but the greatest part about being at that thing, you're going to see the most progress at a shorter clip, right? Because you have so much to lose, which is a good thing.
Okay. All right. I mean, that suits me. Yeah. I
You,
like we were
you'll
saying.
see that your body does not want to hold on to this stuff. We are not designed for it. We we're not, right? So if you've got a significant amount to lose, then okay, great. Let's see. I would say, as I'm bringing this up, where's the results? Yeah, give me the results, please.
We can fill the dead air while you're searching for
Yes,
that
of
data.
course.
Yeah.
This
But
is
but
just.
um, so tell me more about what success looks like for you.
Well, I think I I'd like to slim down. I'd like to be slimmer, um, which I guess is losing body fat, isn't it? Like we went on holiday last summer and we were messing about. We built like this big sand shark thing on
I'll
the
put the
beach,
pictures up. 1 second. Keep going.
and like I think at that time, apart from my soon-to-be wife, I had the largest breasts in my family, with two teenage girls as well. So yeah, and there was just one photo, and I thought, what the fuck is that? I mean, I'm not hugely bothered by it, you know. Oh, that's James's stag do, that one.
That one.
Wow.
I like these
Yeah.
pictures that you sent me because they tell a story of a sleeping man being chased into the ocean and then buried alive in the sand. Hang on, I'm gonna put it's weird. I'm gonna put the other one
But
up.
like it doesn't massively upset me, Matt, the way I look.
Hmm.
I'm fairly confident in who I am and stuff. I'd like to be fitter. I'd like sort of not to get out of breath. Like we may as well talk about it, Ben. I ended up in a stroke clinic a couple of weeks ago. The doctor thought I may have had a tiny stroke. Turns out I
Jesus.
hadn't. It turns out I hadn't. I think I just had a big headache. Um, but that was quite worrying, having to get an MRI and all that kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
and I've taught you a little bit about some previous bad habits that I've got, or that I had. But I've still got some. Like I do a bit of comfort eating. I smoke like a chimney. I
Hmm.
walk quite a lot. I know you mentioned walking in my job. Yeah, I think I average between 6 and 7 thousand steps a day, which feels like a lot. Um,
Yeah, it's not.
Is it not? Great. Okay. Well, not for you with your tiny little dwarf legs.
Yeah, no, it
But
would be a lot for me.
um, but yeah. So I don't know. I'd like to look better, I think, and I'd like to feel healthier. Yeah, that's what success looks like for me, I think.
Okay. So I mean, you need about 2,550, like in terms of calories a day, to just stay where you are,
Mhm.
right? And about 3,500 calories per week would be needing to go downwards in order for you to lose a pound of adipose tissue, right? Which will be fat. So
Okay.
that's roughly, let's say, 500 calories below your maintenance, right? But you also walk, you do stuff. I would say smoking, oh, my
I know
feelings
what you're
about
going to
that
say,
are,
Matt. I know what you're going to say. You're about to say smoking makes you look really cool. Keep doing
yeah, I
it.
mean, like that's indisputable. That's fucking undefeated. That comment, 100%. It is. You just do,
No,
in fact, look
I,
cooler, but
no.
you are racing toward the grave uh, to look really like the sexiest corpse
Yeah, man.
you
Oh,
can.
jeez. Yeah.
So, I mean, if that doesn't scare you, fuck. I mean, I don't know what else could.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, I would say if you feel that you cannot quit smoking, have you ever attempted to quit?
Yeah, a couple of times, but probably really half-assed. I think, yeah, like I know a little bit about addiction. It's what I do for work, and I think everyone has their own motivations. And we were talking about, for me, some of my previous addictions had very immediate consequences, um, whereas
But they also had
smoking,
immediate relief. Right? They
yeah,
all fixed the problem.
that's true. That's true. I cannot argue with you on that. Um, Yeah, it's something I need to seriously, uh, not even just look at. I just need to do it, don't I?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you
that
would
could
have
be
to. You would have
content.
to.
I mean, do you feel
I
like
mean, like if you're willing to film yourself in your most vulnerable moments and then have the whole world be able to see it, then certainly, yeah, go for it.
I feel that for myself and for you, Rich, one thing that we have in common is that um, we try to improve our lives and make changes in our lives, but we hang on to one bad habit or a couple of bad habits, and at the end of the day, it's those bad habits that are preventing us from moving forward. So I tried to get into shape earlier this year, but I didn't quit drinking. I did at first, but then I went back to it, and that was ultimately what undid me. Um, so I don't know if that's something like psychologically, but the way that I try to kind of uh, justify it to myself is that okay, I'm doing such good work. I'm doing great. I'm allowed to have at least just like one little vice, but it
Mm,
was the vice that was just ruining everything. So I don't know. It feels kind of intense to say you got to quit everything. Like I feel like a scolded child when I say that to myself like internally. It's like, oh, can't I
mm.
even? What fun am I gonna have? It's like I think it's just it has to happen. It's like we were saying about tough love, because I, I don't think the tough love really works when it comes externally. I think people just like somebody can tell you like, man, you need to get in shape, and it's like, yeah, fuck you. Um, it's not until you start
Yeah,
having that conversation with yourself that anything changes.
Yeah,
uh,
potential. I
spot
mean,
on.
that sounds like me. That does sound like me. You know,
Mm.
I did a bit of training on motivational interviewing, which is like
Oh, I love that. Oh,
yeah, so it's like a derivative of CBT that we use for a lot of our clients. And the guy delivering the seminar, he was like, "Right, who's going to admit to smoking?" And no one else did, so I put my hand up. And he was like, okay, so let's talk about your smoking. Why do you smoke? And I'm like, oh, it's nice to get a 5-minute break at work. I quite enjoy it still. It's good for when I'm stressed. And he's going through all these reasons. And then he goes, yeah, it sounds like it's the only joy that you have in your life.
Wow.
And I was like, fuck you. No, I've got loads of other things. I got kids, I got family, I got a great life. Fuck you. And then he's like, oh, so you want to give up smoking? And I'm like, damn it, you've done me. Your mind tricks have worked.
Yeah.
But maybe not well enough. But no, I do see the reasons, and yeah, okay. So that's something I need to seriously think about.
Well, that's the thing. Is not. I don't. It's not that you don't see you. It's not that you wouldn't have seen the reasons. It's like anyone. It's so obvious to anyone. If you're out of shape, if you're fat, like you look at yourself in the mirror. It's like, tell me that you think you look good. It's like you can't
Well, do
tell
you have
those kind of
anybody in your
lies. But it's
Well, do
not.
you have anybody in your life that tells you that? Like, are you willing to hear that and say you're right?
No, because
Like,
I
it's
just
the idea of like women do this very well,
yeah.
where they ask you, do I look fat in this? It's the biggest
It's a
fucking,
trap. It's a trap.
it's the biggest trap of all time, right? They know they look fat, but
Yeah.
they want you to tell them no so they can feel good.
Hmm.
Now, for me, I want the honesty. I want the truth. Does like I ask people because I'm growing this fucking mustache for Mustache March, even though, or what is it, Movember? Sorry,
November. Yeah.
Mustache March. And apparently, like I'm on the fence about it. A lot of people are telling me I look good, and I was like, but really, do I look like somebody who would be characterized for wearing one of these? Am I?
Very strong paedophile vibes emanating from your mustache. Yeah.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. Now, I know that that's sort of what most people would probably think, but people are being polite. Now, what do I do with that? Why won't anybody be honest with me? Like, we would hope that we would want people to be honest with us, right? When we ask, they say, am I overweight? Am I this? Am I that? And then, I mean, clearly, what Rich had just recounted was like the truth. Like the guy broke down, and
Mm.
it sounds like it's the only joy in your life. It's like fuck, yeah, shit. So there you gotta have like this. Why is this the only thing that's bringing me joy? Because
But
you've
it's.
neutered everything else out of your life, right?
I think
Because the things that were bringing you joy were killing you.
but it's like this is where the motivation and discipline comes in for me, because I think that the truth has like a 24-hour expiry date. It's like I can tell myself the
Mm.
truth one day, and then I go to bed and wake up and it's just you're back. It's so easy to lie to yourself once you've reset, you know. And it's learning how to be consistently honest or consistently harsh with your truth. Um, and
Certainly.
that's the discipline, that's the motivation. But yeah, I mean, there's days where I've been to the gym and I've worked out and I felt great, and there's no denying that. There's
Right.
no denying the fact that it makes you feel good. So it's just extraordinary that we kind of trick ourselves in this way, because it's like, okay, it's going to make you healthy, it's going to make you look good, it's going to make you feel good, but you're still going to eat half a tub of ice cream or a whole tub of ice cream if you're rich. Um, so I don't know. It's kind of nuts, isn't it? When you like you said with this guy who kind of tricked you into realizing. But that's, I suppose, what we have to do is we have to maybe explain these things to ourselves in ways that we're willing to accept, because just telling the truth doesn't work. Is like I can look at myself in the mirror and go, "Oh man, I'm out of shape," and then 5 minutes later, I'll just eat a pizza. It's like I don't know. I don't know how to
Does it
present.
does
Sorry,
that
go on.
reality hurt enough?
Well, I guess it obviously it doesn't. This is the thing. Is like I need a different way of communicating with myself that it breaks through. And this is why I say like the short term versus the long term, because it's easy to ignore what that means. Eating that pizza today is easy to ignore what that
Right.
means 12 months down the line or in 5 years. You know, like you don't see that pizza and think that's going to kill me. But
And that's the sort of hard thing about being, I mean, like addicted to food. Like there's some people who are um, addicted to eating or have an issue with eating, and it's sort of the worst type of disease you could probably have in terms of like an addiction or a problem because, well, you kind of need it to live.
hmm, yeah, yeah.
So coming to a healthy relationship with that can be done a few ways, but a lot of it, I mean, like you would have to sort of find the metrics that you could be comfortable with to see yourself progressing forward. Like I have a few metrics of how I know I'm going in the right direction, right?
Hmm.
So I'll explain. I take, like, every weekend I take measurements of my body parts, like my circumferences of the places that I that would hold fat normally, like arms, chest, um, all the abdomen, basically in 4 spots, and then my thighs. And I put it in a spreadsheet, and I shut the spreadsheet afterwards, along with my weight and height. And I look and see the trends. Is it going in the right direction? If I'm on a deficit, am I shrinking? And if I'm on a surplus, am I growing? That's one metric. I look at my weight every day and I note it down. I don't really care what it is. Some days I'll jump up 1.5 kilos, and then the next day I'll be down 1.5 kilos or something like that. It's not that I lost that much weight in that amount of time. Sometimes you can have glycogen in your muscles that was, expelled the day before, and you've just gained that back because you rehydrated, for example. I mean, if you drank a pint of water right now, you probably gain a significant amount of weight that you would lose, probably in the morning or throughout the day. So that's
Mm.
another metric. I also take, photos, and I think I started taking them around the beginning of my fitness journey. There are thousands of myself in various undresses, covering my balls and my junk. Everything
Yeah,
everything
obviously.
sexy enough.
Yeah.
For work only. For work only. It's safe for work. Um, and I always get mocked by my wife or by people when I open up my phone. I'm like, oh God, I'm so embarrassed by these. But this tells me it's like eroding away that past person. You were saying, like, earlier when I jumped on at the beginning, like I was removing a duvet of fat, and now it's just a sheet. That's
Yeah.
basically what it is, and it takes so much time. There was a guy on the Instagram that I saw, explaining what nailing your diet was, day after day after day after day after day after day. And he takes a wine glass and he says, "Hey, you just did one day of clean eating. You hit your macros and everything was good." And he takes a syringe or whatever, a little eyedropper, and puts one drop of water in this wine glass. That's one day. And then he
Mm.
goes, "Yeah, it doesn't look like much, does it?" And he keeps doing it. That's another day. That's another day. But over time, and then he, jump cuts to, there's just like maybe a half a finger of water. Oh, consistent. Now go back. One day. One day. Oh, you messed up. But still, look, you've got all this in the bank toward what you're doing. So you have to just be able to know that you have several points of progress. Do you feel better? Like, do you sleep better? I'm imagining probably, if you are overweight, probably your sleep quality isn't good because you might be close to being, you might have sleep apnea. You might snore in your sleep,
Oh, yeah.
right?
like a
Yeah,
like a
that
train,
that
I am.
that
Hmm.
that could be you. You know, one day you could just not be breathing,
Hmm.
right? That if that isn't a wake up call, there you go, a pain point, as marketers would call it. Um,
I just
so
sorry.
you lose.
I just want to jump in there just very quickly because I want to say I think this is why one of the reasons that I failed last time is because I was afraid of that data. I think I didn't do the measurements. I didn't do the data because I felt
Right.
like I would see the physical. I'd see the results in the mirror, or I'd feel the results, and I didn't do the data. I
Okay.
think because I was afraid of it not going the direction I wanted it to on a daily basis. I wasn't able to cope with working out and still being the same weight or still having the same measurements. So I think
Certainly.
it was like a psychological thing, and I think that was actually worked against me. So
Okay. Well, if you know that about yourself, like I mean, the aspect of that metric is like, okay, that works if everything else is in line, right? What I'm also not measuring, or what I'm, that's just me talking about how my body looks. If I'm not eating properly, if I'm overeating, then clearly the data is going to be something that I'm not going to enjoy seeing,
hmm.
right?
I think that's
So if like,
it's one
go
of the
on.
struggles. Is like I can't. I find it. This is what I was saying to Rich earlier when you got disconnected. I found that it was like there's no pleasure in your life. Like I felt like I'd taken away all of the things that I enjoyed, and that I was just working really hard all the time, and um, I don't know. It felt like I was kind of oppressing myself, um, and I don't know. That was kind of the temptation came out of that to fall off the wagon and to start treating myself and to start doing things that ultimately led to my demise from my fitness journey to the point where it just completely collapsed in on itself. Um, but yeah, is there how do you control the hard work, putting in the hard work and putting in the effort, but also not making yourself feel like you're in Guantanamo Bay?
Well, I believe that you, as easy, getting started, it takes a Herculean amount of effort, right? To keep maintaining isn't so hard because the inertia is going and it just keeps moving forward, right?
Hmm.
So taking this principle of like, um, how do you not allow the sort of weight of what you're doing to discourage you, the hard working aspect? I just told myself this is who I am now. I'm that type of person who does not shy away from the hard work. I'm the person who is going to say, yeah, this is what I do. So I recently read a book. I don't know if you have read it, both of you, called Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Hmm.
And this is a book about the science of habit forming. And unawares to me, I guess I was doing a lot of this stuff, but it made a lot of sense more about how I can change any habit and then make it so that I'm constantly being held accountable without needing to make it more difficult on myself. So as you guys are describing all these things of like, well, I can't do this because I don't think you've bought into the new version of yourself. There's still the old versions in your mind that would be like, well, I'm going to work out, but I also am the guy who likes a drink. If you're still the guy who likes a drink, then you're going to be the one that's neglecting the guy who wants a drink because you're trying to be fitter or you're trying to get some goals and things like that. Until the identity is the man that you want to be, then you
Hmm.
will just be fighting an uphill battle and likely not succeed.
Yeah, yeah. I think
And if you picture that person like fully, then anything like smoking, I'm not a smoker any longer. I don't smoke. You have to tell yourself that. You have to believe that. Like, I don't want this thing, so therefore I am not. Right? I
Yeah,
don't want to be fat, therefore I am not. I'm working in that direction to make sure that I am doing that. Now, it also comes with recognizing the triggers that are going to put you in a position where you find relief from the behavior that you know is wrong.
but there has to be space
And
to
you may hate
fail as
yourself
well.
after.
There's got to be space to fail. I mean, you
Oh
got
yeah, I mean, so like equally, I mean, like if all the work that I've done, all those pictures, how long do you think it would take me to lose all that progress?
like a week. I
You
got
think it
it
would
pretty
be a
good.
week?
No. I don't know. Like, if you were really going at it, if you were really like just chugging burgers and drinking and everything, like I don't know, 6 months, maybe a bit longer. I don't know. I
So
found that
not in one
losing
day,
is easy. Sorry.
but not in one day. I'm not going to lose all that
Yeah.
work in one day,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
but I'm also not going to get all that work back in one day, am I? So it's as hard as it is to gain, it's as equally hard to lose.
Hmm.
hmm.
Yeah.
I suppose that part of what you're saying, Matt, sounds to me like it sort of has to become your authentic self. No matter
Certainly.
how you go about that. Yeah, I'm not a believer in the kind of fake it till you make it attitude. And
Hmm.
I don't think that's not what you're saying, is it? It's you
No, but
believe.
there's an element of that, right? Like everybody used to tell me that I was a really grumpy guy, that my
Yeah,
face, and I would just say like, no, my face is that's just my resting face. So I just had a natural resting bitch face,
yeah,
essentially, for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
yeah,
And so like people would always be like, something wrong. I said, no, I'm not outwardly expressing any emotion, but to everyone else, the appearance that me having not showing any like anything is okay to them was showing them that no, it was a piece of shit. Like I'm angry.
mm,
So I had to tell myself what people are perceiving you as is angry. So just fucking smile here and there. You don't have to be happy. You don't have to be this. You don't have to be that. But it puts other people at ease. And over time, I'd have to force myself. Okay, everything's great. Nothing's fine. Smile more. And then, wouldn't you know, I just became a bit happier by
yeah.
osmosis. I
But
don't know. Like so, like at first, it really was not. I'm actually happy. Is more like I'm putting people off. I'm making them uncomfortable. So how about I just not look like a grumpy cat?
yeah, but I guess by not putting people off and not making people feel uncomfortable, better things happen. You get better
Absolutely,
relationships, and then yeah, that makes you happy by default, doesn't it? That
certainly,
happiness.
and what your choices that you make every single choice is just that, like a choice. It's what we put to be either good or bad.
Hmm.
So I think like I don't want to take away the things that are going to be treats for you guys at our ever. If you were my client, 80% of the time you're going to eat clean and you're going to like the foods that you eat. So it's not really that much work,
Hmm.
right? And then 20% of the time, go hog wild. I don't give a shit. Like, knock out that pint of ice cream if you need. You know, go out with the boys, have a couple pints. Not for you, Rich. Sorry, you can't play any longer.
Yeah,
But you get my point.
yeah.
Like, if you have to eat 90 meals in a month, 18 of them can be whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
And you're not going to lose track. And in fact, it's going to be like, oh, I have these. They're not completely prohibitive. You know, we just had Thanksgiving here in my country, but I celebrated it here with a friend of mine who invited me over to have Thanksgiving leftovers. Stuffing, mac and cheese, potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, homemade rolls, and roasted chicken.
Sounds great.
And I went ham on on that plate. I could have eaten a lot more, but I was trying to be nice because, well, these are leftovers that my friend gave me, but I could have easily cleaned her out. Right? I had zero qualms about that. Zero. Because, okay, I will limit my carbohydrates for that little bit of time, or I won't. And tomorrow, guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to get up. I'm going to have my meals ready. I know what I'm eating every day. I know that if I go to the gym, then I know what I'm going to do in the gym. I
Hmm.
know that I will not only get 10,000 steps, probably even more, and that will be what I do every day. That's Matt.
Well, I think
There's no getting around that.
that's a good point for us to wrap up because what I'd like to do, Matt, is invite you back on to talk about the next step and have a conversation about starting our fitness journey, if that's okay. If you fancy coming on and talking a little bit more about your methods and maybe you can give us a bit of advice and we can talk a little bit more about motivation because I think it's quite an interesting topic with lots to be said. Um, but yeah, would you? I'm sure you'd be happy to join us, right? And talk about maybe I can share some photos of my belly. Um,
Sure, certainly. I got
yeah.
some homework for you guys, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want you to identify the foods that you could never get bored of eating every day.
Okay.
Just those kind of things. They need to be, you know, protein, carb, or fat, right?
Okay.
Um, After every meal, a 10-minute walk. If it can't be immediately there, at least a half an hour of walking sometime. But usually, I think a 10-minute walk after meals has been shown to help with keeping you on track with goals, right? Um, and then specifically for Ben, um, what does success look like for you? Because we got riches
Mm.
in the
Mm.
short term, but we definitely need some longer ones that are like big goals. Because these short-term objectives, and I don't really like the term goals any longer, because once you get them, then what's next, right? Are you going to quit
Yeah.
after you look good for your wedding? I sincerely hope not. Um, because if the goal really is to be there for your daughters, to see them graduate, to walk them down the aisle, and I mean walk, not be pushed by a wheelchair or just not be there at all.
Mm.
Yeah, man.
Um, that to me, those things are what should get you out of bed. Those are the things that should be pushing you forward. Okay. So
Hmm.
I would like for us to talk about those again, and then yeah, we can talk about you know getting you started. But yeah, certainly the most important bit is hopefully you guys convert yourselves into the people you want to be. When you identify as that person who does those things, then it really isn't difficult to do those things.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I can certainly do that. That's not the most difficult homework I've ever been given. I'm happy that it didn't involve like doing 100 squats or whatever. But yeah, definitely. Well, we'll have good news for you next time we speak. And yeah, thanks very much for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us. Just again, is there anywhere that if people want to find you and ask for your help or to look at your fitness journey, where should they go?
You should go to Instagram at uh, M Zana Fitness. That's Mazana Fitness on Instagram. Please give me a follow, like any of the stuff because, well, I'm trying to grow this thing and little by little, organically, little by little, it's starting to grow, but I definitely could use more of the attention. And I will answer any question that anybody can give me about fitness or mentality, even finance a little bit, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, and um, and on Twitter at Matt Zana, my name, MattZana or Z, as you guys would say.
Mhm.
Um, and hopefully we can strike up a conversation there.
Okie dokie. Cool. Right.
Nice one, Matt.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks for sparing us the time.
Appreciate it. And
Oh no, it was a pleasure, guys.
all right. Well, we look forward to speaking to you again soon and being in incredible shape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one day, Ben. One
Let's
day.
hope. Let's hope.
All right. Take it easy, man. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Cheers, dude.
Okay. Cheers. Bye. There
Wow.
he's still there.
Wow. Yeah, I'm still here. We got stuff to do, dude.
Yeah, I do. It's interesting for me to hear all of that motivational stuff, but I am still going to go and eat some ice cream.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and have a cig. But
Yeah.
but no, like the reality of it is we gotta do something. It'll be interesting doing it together, I think.
Yeah, well,
And
watch this space because we're going to try and keep a faithful record of what happens or what doesn't happen. Um, yeah, and just like learn some techniques along the way. I mean, you probably already know a lot about this kind of stuff anyway. You're quite familiar with, like I said before, like holding yourself accountable on a daily basis.
yeah, man, but I can do it for some things, and then it's really easy for me to tell other people.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah, yeah,
you can't therapize a therapist.
exactly. Yeah, no,
It's a tricky one, but
I do get that. It's easier to. I think that it's just a standard rule that people care more for others than they care for themselves. It's yeah. Um, because there's not as much work involved.
yeah,
It's easier to tell somebody what they should do, but if you tell yourself, it means that you have to perform the action as well. So
yeah.
that's
Although, I quite like what you were saying about having an honest opinion from someone else, and I think me and you are probably in a position where we can do that.
hmm.
I'm not so keen on the idea of sending and receiving nudes from you,
I was doing that before we even started our fitness journey.
but if that's what it takes, then we'll go there. But yeah, man, if we can keep each other a little bit accountable, then that
Yeah.
that could be good. And Matt seems like a cool guy. I didn't hate him, so that's good.
Good, good. No, he's very good at what he does, and I think he has the right kind of mixture of tough love, but also you know um, a slightly gentler approach. Like I say, like if there are things that you don't enjoy doing, or is there things that you find difficult, he's not going to force you to. He's not going to hold you down and force feed protein into your mouth. That's a different tier of service. You have to pay more for that. But yeah, no, he's a good guy, and I look forward to our next conversation. Right, we've run on a little bit today, so I guess we'll sign off, shall we?
Yeah. Okay. Love you.
I
Bye.
love you. Bye.
Medically.